2024, in my opinion, is going to be a spectacular year for Polkadot and its entire ecosystem. We have Polkadot 2.0 around the corner a few months out, and with it, we are going to see huge changes to Polkadot, how it works, and its entire ecosystem. What I want to do in this video is actually explore a recent referendum that went through the technical fellowship of Polkadot that is going to see the revenue generated from the sale of Coretime or block space, whatever you want to call it, actually get burned. Now, one of the main criticisms levied against Polkadot, perhaps from investors in it or people who haven't invested in it, as they're probably the ones that are levying the criticism against it, is that it is inflationary. And of course it is. You have to incentivize the participation in the network. One question I always get asked is, why do these projects need tokens? And the plain and simple answer is you need to incentivize and reward people for taking part in the network. Otherwise, nobody would do it. And this is where their security comes from. So Polkadot is perhaps, and I do think this is a fair comment, a lot more inflationary than many of the other blockchain projects out there. However, with the dawn and the rise of Polkadot 2.0, we're about to see that inflation get eaten away at in the form of burn mechanisms. And actually, just today, we saw a referenda get voted on by the technical fellowship that is going to see the Polkadot generated by the sales of Coretime or block space actually get burned, and we're going to be exploring that in this video. We'll give a brief overview of what Polkadot 2.0 is going to entail, and then we're going to be diving into a very interesting tweet from Emil who looks at what's coming in the first half of this year. Guys, this is absolutely a video not to miss. Strap yourselves in. Without further ado, let's dive into it all. So Polkadot 2.0 is essentially going to see us go from this parachain slot auction model to a more nimble and flexible model where anybody and everybody will be able to utilize and leverage Polkadot's insanely secure, resilient, and efficient network. This is absolutely huge. So the current model in regards to actually deploying a blockchain on Polkadot is that you essentially have to win a parachain slot auction. And this will tie you in or give you a period of around about 2 years where you'll be able to utilize Polkadot's underlying infrastructure, relay chain, XCM, and everything that comes with it. The problem with this model and why we're moving towards Polkadot 2.0 is it's quite frankly not inclusive. You have to raise a load of funds to actually get through on a slot auction. Not everybody wins one. There's limited space. What Polkadot 2.0 is essentially doing is nimbleizing. I don't know if nimbleizing is a word. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comment section. We seem to have a lot of English teachers out there. But what it's essentially doing is it's revolutionizing the way that people do things and will build on top of Polkadot. Polkadot is, in my opinion, on many levels, a superior blockchain and infrastructure to most of the others that are offered out there. And actually, once you have the barriers broken down in regards to developers, people looking to deploy on Polkadot, you are going to see an influx of usage for the underlying infrastructure and Polkadot itself, and you're going to see its entire ecosystem blossom. So what's essentially going to happen with Polkadot 2.0, to give you a really brief summary, I'm sure this isn't as technical as perhaps some people may like, but you are going to see the doing away of the parachain 2-year slot auction model to a essentially bulk auction model or a kind of more flexible model. The bulk is going to be a 28-day period where you can sort of rent, you can buy the time on one of these parachains. You can buy a whole parachain, or core as they're now going to be called, or you can buy a slice of it. We'll be examining that a little bit more when we look at a tweet from Emil. But this is essentially going to allow anybody to take part in Polkadot. All you need is the funds to do so that will be paid in Polkadot. And that's going to drive the demand for Polkadot. And actually, on the back end of that, like I said at the start of the video, in the past 24 hours, we did see a proposal or a referenda get through by the Polkadot Technical Fellowship that is actually going to see the revenue generated by the sales of Coretime, block space, whatever you want to call it, actually get burned. And let's dive into that to kick this video off. So this is a tweet from Filippo Web3 tweets, happy to see that Polkadot RFC10 has been executed by the Technical Fellowship. Coretime sales will be initiated with the burning mechanism. DOT will get more deflationary pleasure. So there are, just to outline this before we move on, other mechanisms of Polkadot being burnt. We know we have the Polkadot treasury, and I actually think Polkadot has the most advanced and successful governance system there is. It's the most decentralized, it's the most everything. It's just, in my opinion, quite frankly, a work of art, and we're still at this stage where there's still very low participants. This is only going to blossom and grow, and we're going to see this really interesting kind of political, social happening around Polkadot. But there is already a burn mechanism in regards to the treasury fund. So the treasury grows over time. It's in the tunes of millions. And if those funds aren't spent to kind of incentivize spending, they do get burnt. And you can see this is from the Polkadot wiki. If the treasury ends a spend period without spending all of its funds, it suffers a burn of the percentage of its funds, thereby causing deflationary pressure. This encourages the spending of the funds in the treasury by Polkadot's OpenGov system. This percentage is currently at 1% of Polkadot. So this is not the biggest burn mechanism, but one all the same. When you compound that with what's coming, let's dive over to GitHub. This is, of course, where this was posted. Burn revenue from Coretime sales. Now, the Coretime sales were going to go to the treasury. However, as of over the past 24 hours, the referendum, which you can see over here, which is number 10, did actually get passed. And this is going to see the funds that are generated on Polkadot actually get burnt in regards to Coretime sales. So this is going to be deflationary. It's going to offset some of that inflation. Polkadot's inflation rate hovers above sort of 20%. This is going to eat into that massively. It's going to be very interesting to see the kind of demand that we see for this new and revived version of Polkadot. Certainly something I'm very interested in. One of the reasons I'm so bullish on Polkadot. But this is huge. I think there's a lot of things happening with the fellowship, with OpenGov, with lots of things that are going unnoticed largely by Polkadot holders. It's all kind of happening in the background on GitHub, on, you might see the odd tweet about it, but we're going to try and keep you up to date with everything going on as we move into Polkadot 2.0 and beyond. The next thing that I want to dive into is this concept of elastic scaling. So the beauty of Polkadot, and this is what has always made sense to me about Polkadot, is it was very apparent to myself, having a background in dentistry, of course, and not a technical one, that Polkadot's model and approach to doing blockchain was the right one. Polkadot essentially has this idea of having a set of validators, and they can maintain Polkadot, but they can also maintain kind of, in some ways, replicas of Polkadot. So you have this underlying security chain, the relay chain, Polkadot, and then you can actually have and duplicate that same consensus multiple times. And this essentially allows you to scale infinitely. It allows you to double the power that you have, double the everything that you have, essentially. And actually, this is the whole idea of elastic scaling, which we are going to get in Polkadot 2.0. So let's dive back into this. This was posted on GitHub. Also, there's a lot of things that are on GitHub that people miss because they're perhaps not developers. I'm not a developer, just somebody who speaks with developers and kind of has a vague understanding of it all. But eventually, parachains should be able to occupy more than one core at once in a single block, which allows them to scale beyond a single core in their collators are powerful enough. So right now, one of these cores, which is a parachain currently, and these are going to be broken up, and we'll look at that in just a second, is as efficient as another layer one blockchain. It offers the power, offers the block time, it offers scale, it offers the security, probably more so than most of the layer ones because it utilizes Polkadot's billions in regards to its proof of stake mechanism. But this is gonna, if you're a parachain, you'll be able to kind of double up. And if you need the scale, you can essentially duplicate that by buying more cores. And I think some of them that are going to see killer use cases are going to need this. Again, filter this back to the burn mechanism, everything that we've just spoke about. It's a very exciting future that we have for Polkadot in 2024. And to kind of move on to a tweet that I thought was absolutely brilliant. This is Emil Keatsman. You can go over and follow him on Twitter. Somebody that's well worth following, a Polkadot ambassador. He's also a dot philosopher co-writer. So very interesting. Somebody who is up to date on this space, perhaps more so than I am. Polkadot 2.0 starts in about 2 months. Right in time with the Bitcoin halvening. So we do cover the daily markets on a daily basis. If you want to follow me to find out what my thoughts are on the markets daily, we do very well out of it. We've got an entire group of Patreons that have done very well out of the markets. And we continuously give results. We don't get everything right, but we take a technical look at them all the same. Also a fundamental look at them. To proceed, so parachain auctions with 2-year dot lock are being done away with in 2.0. Block space sold in a flexible way with the revenue now being burnt. And remember, this burn was literally this passed within the past 24 hours. If you are mad at Polkadot for 2021 and that it's too inflationary, check what will change. To move on, block space as a service, Coretime sales, bulk cores, 28-day lease with possible renewal, bigger projects. So this would be like your parachains. On-demand cores tailored to your needs, small and medium projects testing. A more flexible approach, lowering the entry to the ecosystem, stuff that we've spoken about. All revenue will be burnt as of the vote that took place over the past 24 hours. This is actually a great picture of what things currently look like. So how cores are currently assigned. This is the long-term leasing model. And this is how cores might be assigned in the future. You can kind of think about Polkadot as a big computer with cores in it. It can keep going with the cores. Right now we have 52. The plan is to get to 500 to 1,000. That's going to be one powerful computer. Most computers, maybe have a couple of cores, 3, 4, 5, if you're lucky, 7 or 9, if you're really lucky. But this is, I think, a great schematic of the kind of world that we're moving towards, or a great visual of the world that we're moving towards. You can see you can split these cores, you can, do all these things and kind of tailor Polkadot to your own needs. To move on, you don't need to be a Polkadot parachain to join a core. All project chains are welcome to be secured on Polkadot or by Polkadot. Slow with high gas fees, bottleneck issues, chain halts, hacker risk, weak bridges. Polkadot has #1 in the Nakamoto coefficiency of all the altcoins. We did show you the Electric Capital, this is the Mazzari report. The Electric Capital one was also fantastic. You can see Polkadot is #1. It's never halted. There's never been any kind of issues because of this parallel system, hence the word parachain and where it comes from. 2024, it will be 8 times faster this year with asynchronous backing. So that's something to come that I think a lot of people have missed. So much going on with Polkadot. A lot of it happens on GitHub and in the kind of smaller circles of Polkadot. We're going to try and bring that to you guys, the masses. I don't know about masses. I think that the viewing on Polkadot is still rather small. The viewing on crypto is still rather small, but it will grow. It will have a Polkadot to Ethereum bridge. Burning Coretime sales will make it less inflationary. It will have Play Mythical coming from Ethereum, biggest gaming chain with top 5 sales NFT volumes. We're actually seeing a number of other chains actually move over to Polkadot. Also, we heard about the aggro token and things like that. Just a few enterprise use cases. So it has a lot of, it's some of the biggest and largest institutions in the world are building on Polkadot. So we know about, obviously, a star with Sony, Toyota, KDDI. We know about Kilt with Deloitte, Alex Spring. We know about Aventius Network with Vodafone. We know about Energy Web with Shell and, of course, Vodafone. We know about Origin Trails. We've interviewed Zigga from Origin Trails. Amazing guy, amazing project with Walmart and Home Depot. And we know about, obviously, Peak Network with Bosch. Deepin's going to be absolutely huge. All secured by Polkadot and leveraging Polkadot. In 2021, Polkadot was a top 3 in market cap with no products and parachain auctions launching at the peak of the bull market. At the end of 2024, Polkadot might have 250 cores. So you can think of them as 250 parachains, but of course the whole thing's going to be rebranded. The goal is 1,000+ cores. If the demand for cores will rise, so will the dot price for them, and more dot will be burned. So Polkadot was a top 3. I've been in this game long enough to remember that. Guys, this was just an update on some of the things that are currently happening in Polkadot, kind of a bit of a refresher in regards to Polkadot 2.0 and an alert in regards to what's coming. It's always enjoyable to do these Polkadot videos. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. We thought it was important to get that news in regards to the new burn mechanism that has been voted on and now is looking to be implemented in regards to core sales, Coretime sales, block space sales. And yeah, that's really all I've got for you guys. Always enjoyable to speak with you. Thanks a lot for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.